3. If you score 9, you want 10. But the Mustangs play a lot of games that are lower scoring, in part because they play a game that is heavily emphasizing possession, and they've played a bunch of opponents that do the same. So a lot of the game is played in transition in the middle third of the field, thereby limiting chances on each end of the field. He's right. They haven't scored as much as he would like, and Kevin Hudson would like, and the rest of his teammates would like. But they have had, they've created enough chances that they've been able to score enough to keep winning, and they've gotten back into the national rankings by doing so.
As you saw there, they've won their last 3 matches by a combined score of 6-1. Meanwhile, on the FIU side, they've definitely struggled to score. They've been shut out 4 times this year in the 7 games. And as this season has gone on for the FIU Panthers, it's become more and more really of a concern. They really have only scored in 2 games this season, where they scored 4 in a matchup against UCF and then 3 against UCA. A late scratch in this one, Kieran Pino not starting for the SMU Mustangs. And Ryan Clanton-Pimentel is out there as the left outside back. Niko Djordjevic with the throw in here to the top of the 6, and you get your first look at 6'7" Nigel Van Havern. Van Havern, who averages more than 5 saves a game. That's 10th best in the country. He's been tested a lot this season.
He has been tested a lot, and it's almost lazy to say he's up to the task or any more height-related jokes. But you think about it, as coaches will tell you, the 2 things you cannot teach are speed and size. 6'7" is the kind of measurements every coach would love to have for a goalkeeper. Plus, he's a good jumper. Plus, he has long arms and good hands. Coach Kyle Russell said it's really like he's almost a 9-foot goalkeeper back there. And if that were the case, good luck going over the top, and good luck finding too much space on either side of him.
And it's nice that he has size, because FIU as a team is not sizable. And a great shot by Dos Santos Montero, but an equally adept save by Martin Dominguez. And he's able to punch it out of the 18, at least for now. And here's a take by FIU, and as SMU comes back to get it with Clanton-Pimentel. First foul of the night is called on Prince Angelica as we take a look at that shot from the man they call Benny.
Yeah, Benny with a big shot from fairly close range. He crosses up Owen Zarnik, gets a left-footed shot, and you see Martin Dominguez lay out. And we talked to Jaime Ibarra, the Mustangs goalkeeper coach, before the game, and just about how Dominguez is settling into this role. Obviously, he's a veteran guy. He's an experienced senior, but he's been watching for most of his career. And the first thing that Coach Ibarra said is he is an exceptional shot blocker, and he put it on display right there, turning away that shot from Dos Santos Montero at close range.
Opening moments here in Dallas. A lot of matchups over the years between SMU and FIU. SMU leads the all-time series in this one by an 18-3 mark. But the last few matchups between the 2 teams have gone right down to the wire, including an entertaining 6-4 matchup 2 seasons ago here in Dallas. This one's kept off the line. Another opportunity for FIU. Montero tries to play it in front, but it doesn't get through. The serve across, and Martin Dominguez is equal to it 4 minutes into the match.
That 6-4 game a couple of years ago, I believe we called that game. It was exhausting. There were 10 goals. It felt like there were a million shots in that game. And you don't often think of it this way for soccer, but it kind of felt like whoever gets the ball last wins. You sometimes hear that analogy used in football. But that was a track meet up and down the field all night.
It was, and the SMU Mustangs, again, ended up coming out on top. Niko Djordjevic in that match, in his freshman season, had a 3-assist effort as SMU was scoring early and often. Get a look at Kyle Russell in the background, head coach of the FIU Panthers. A lot of success in his 5th season as the head coach. And Clanton-Pimentel goes down hard. It's going to be a foul called against FIU, and immediately getting up was Matisse Lefebvre, to try to indicate that that was off of SMU. However, it was a foul the whole way.
Yeah, he was trying to say it was off SMU. What I was watching was Clanton Pimentel got up holding the back of his neck. And I thought for a moment, okay, Pino's already out. Now Clinton Pimentel's down. But as it turns out, he was just adjusting the band, holding his hair out of his eyes. So it wasn't an injury.
Look at Michael Appiah go. He overruns the ball for a moment. Now a quick move to his right. Appiah cuts it back on Brock Pope. Appiah gets it back and then was not able to hit it cleanly. Went off the outside of his foot, but Appiah showing off his excellent speed and adaptability.
And what he also shows off is the way you have to defend him. And what that means is when he hits the jets, if he can then hit the brakes, you've got a defender scrambling to chase you down from behind as the fastest player on the field. You can stop and let your defender run right past you. And he crossed up Brock Pope and was able to get a lot of space, and then he just mishit the cross.
Coach Russell says he's got that Ghana Ian flair, and he's dangerous wherever he goes. That was evident. Michael Appiah missing almost all of last season, all but 3 games, because of a terrible injury last season where his groin muscle got pulled away from the bone, and it took a long time to rehab that.
That's the most painful sounding thing I think I've ever heard. That sounds awful. And the fact that he recovered without surgery is remarkable.
A lot of physical therapy involved. He's back as fast and as good as ever. And FIU is threatening a lot early. SMU head coach Kevin Hudson told us before the match, hey, don't look at the 2-4-1 record. This is a team that is absolutely dangerous enough to hurt us.
And one of the guys he talked about is the guy we just spoke about, Appiah. As he said, if they play over the top, if they get behind our back line, we're not catching him from behind. The Mustangs have defenders who can run. Michael Appiah is basically shot out of a cannon, though. And he is virtually impossible to chase down, even when he's running with the ball and the defenders are not.
And again, FIU is in a play across in the area for Dos Santos Montero, and there is going to be a call here. Let's take a look at it as we look for the call. Dos Santos Montero going down.
You see the feed into the middle here.
Brock Pope got him, and a point to the spot.
Benny Dos Santos Montero taken down with a little shot to the back of the ankle, I think, from Pope. And Pope tried to plead his case, but to no avail. So just 7.5 minutes into the game, FIU lining up for a penalty kick.
Outstanding opportunity for the Panthers on the road, and certainly deserving of a goal creation with the way that they have gotten up the field early in this match. Daniel Radford calling the penalty on the center back, Brock Pope, and Bernardo Dos Santos Montero, who was fouled inside the box and is 3 for 3 on penalty kicks in his career, including a make this season, will step up now.
And meanwhile, Pope is still seated and holding his right foot or ankle.
And of course, until Pope is ready to go, or somebody is for SMU there, you can't restart. If there was to be a miss and the ball come back into play. Lamar Bynum being scolded.
This is one feature that I love about the ACC network cameras. They have unbelievable directional mics pointed out on the field, and we as announcers and the fans watching this have been the beneficiaries of some fascinating conversations.
Martin Dominguez trying to get in the head of the senior Montero. I don't know if it's going to work. Dos Santos Montero is a cool customer, but Dominguez says he wants it. Benny. It's in. Martin Dominguez guessed right. But Bernardo Dos Santos Montero beats him low and to the right, and FIU strikes first on the PK.
And guessed is the right word. Of course, as a goalkeeper, all you can do is pick a side and dive and hope that the shooter picks the same side and you're able to make contact. And I'm not sure Dominguez didn't get a fingertip on that ball. It almost sounded like we heard a little bit of contact, maybe glancing off the glove. But Benny Dos Santos Montero struck the ball beautifully, tucked it right inside the lower right corner of the goal to put FIU up a goal. But what I'm also watching is Brock Pope is still sort of hopping and gingerly favoring, I guess it's an ankle, maybe he got stepped on, because when there was the contact, when he took down, he was on his feet for a few seconds at first when he went to the official trying to plead his case, and only then did he sit down. If he is hobbled, that is not insignificant, because remember, the Mustangs are already down a defender with the absence of Cesar Rubalcaba. So hopefully for SMU, number 2 is going to be able to shake off whatever is ailing him.
And he's doing everything he can to stay out there. He's a tough customer. He's always going to give it 100%, says head coach Kevin Hudson. By the way, looking down at the sideline, and Kieran Pino, who was listed in the original starting lineup, he is not in cleats today, and it looked like he had gone back to the locker room late and had come back out in sneakers. And so don't expect to see the outstanding left back, who Kevin Hudson calls maybe the best one in the country, in this game. SMU will have to play through that. FIU looking to strike again. And this chip inside by Dos Santos Montero guides a little bit off to the left.
Hey, sit up, organize.
However, it was last touched by SMU, and it will be a corner, the first one of the evening for FIU.
Pino's absence further magnifies the ailment that Brock Pope is trying to fight through, because most people look at SMU and they see Pino and they see what a marvelous offensive threat he is from that left wing back spot. But he's also a really exceptional 1v1 defender. So if you're without Rubalcaba and now you're without Pino, helping at the wingback spot, and if Pope is hobbled at all, they're getting pretty thin on the back line for SMU.
And that has been a place where they thought they had depth this season. So instead of playing it in from the corner, the Panthers go for possession, and Scorsese is able to take over on the end line, feed it to Berkovitz, who fires it back up the field, and the Panthers able to get back in possession and try to keep the pressure on here. The Panthers have had consistent pressure early in this match, and here's Angelica, the 18-year-old freshman, trying to slot it into Apia, who mishandles it. And Milton Lopez taken down on the play by Leo Vilches, and the first foul on Vilches, but FIU is going to be caught in fouls in this match. They averaged the 10th most fouls per match of any team, a very physical team.
And now Lopez is a little bit slow getting up. He got bumped sort of from both sides on the outside, took a couple steps, then went back down, and he's been holding that left knee, and he's favoring it a little bit. It's getting turning into a mash unit almost for the Mustangs. Hopefully he will be able to shake it off on the offensive end, just like they're hoping Brock Pope will be okay in the back end.
The SMU striker with a couple goals this season. So you got to pay attention for FIU to number 7 and number 11. Those are the guys that are going to score the goals this season for the Panthers, it appears. 3 this season from Apia, 3 from Dos Santos Montero. And once it was again touched by an FIU Panther, SMU gets the restart.
And I've been watching Milton Lopez. He has been looking over at the SMU bench and raised his hand a couple of times, trying to get the attention of either the coaches or athletic trainer Becky Regal. And he is considerably favoring that right leg. So
some room for Bynum up to Clanton Pimentel. Clanton Pimentel dancing in onto the right foot, plays it across, and it's headed away, but Salvo backs it up. SMU may want to play the ball in the air against this smaller FIU Panther team that has struggled on set pieces this season, especially giving up goals with the ball in the air. Clanton Pimentel gives some ground back to Bynum. And SMU with some possession in the final third. And at least until now, Pope makes a good play to Owen Zarnik. Best passer out of the back for SMU. Feeds it out to Djordjevic, and Djordjevic cuts in. Niko Djordjevic. Back out to Bynum, joining the fray. Dumps it down, here's Escorcia. Scored last time out, rolling it toward the corner. Now plays it all the way out front. Got past Clinton Pimentel, and Angelica is going to be able to clear it up the field for FIU.
Both teams playing a little bit more direct than usual coming out of the back. It's been the 20 players in between the goalkeepers have been packed in a little more tightly with each other than you sometimes see. So rather than working passes out of the back, both teams have sent some long balls over the top trying to just get the ball out of danger.
Joao Domingos on that last run and kind of goes body to body with Niko Djordjevic, creating another opportunity at a corner kick for FIU. This time they'll send Bernardo dos Santos Montero to take it. Scored the game-tying goal last year against SMU in Miami. This year he's got the opener. Montero, in swinger, header over the top. And a goal kick for SMU. If you're just joining us, it was an 8-minute penalty kick by Bernardo dos Santos Montero. He was fouled in the box by SMU's Brock Pope to give him the opportunity, and dos Santos Montero deposited it, his third goal of the season.
It was a really beautiful shot by dos Santos Montero, and coaches will tell you that if a penalty kick is struck properly, it should go in 90, maybe 95% of the time. And as we said, Martin Dominguez guessed the right way, and he fully laid out for that ball. And even guessing properly, he was unable to pull it back because that PK was placed beautifully into the corner.
Clinton Pimentel trying to cut one back, and Angelica wastes it across the touchline. Clinton Pimentel, who got the surprise start today for Kieran Pino, is trying to be an offensive threat. Now Salvo, strong on the ball, even amongst three. Sparks is going to back it up for SMU as the number 16 Mustangs are coming off of a win over number 13 Virginia Tech last time out. Look for some momentum, but it's not going to happen here as the Panthers come out with it with Joao Domingos, who is taken down to the far side of the field by Neve Bergovitz.
Yeah, Berkovitz, you never want to be called for a foul, but that's probably not a bad foul because he got completely crossed up and he took the man down from behind, and it was a smart choice because A, he didn't get a card, and B, it prevented a breakaway as there was nothing but open real estate on the way in toward Martin Dominguez.
15 minutes in, FIU, former conference foe of SMU. This is now a non-conference game, and FIU leads it 1-0. That one was out. Would have been a dangerous ball and another doorstep opportunity for dos Santos Montero, but the ball had just eclipsed the end line as we get a look.
A nice hustle by David Bakuza. Just ran out of real estate because, to your point, as he turned and hooked that ball back into the middle, there were a couple of white jerseys there with some space around them in positions to get a really good shot off at the SMU net.
Nice cold front coming through the Dallas area this morning. And in the process, we're down to 80 degrees at game time. Feels like 78 as Apia takes it away. SMU with a half clearance. Panthers able to keep possession, however. But there is some wind as well coming out of the north at 10, gusting up to 20. That means FIU has the wind behind them in this first half. SMU will in the second half.
I'm guessing there are some ACC soccer fans in the Northeast listening us to talking about 80 degrees as a cold front and probably shaking their heads with a little bit of disbelief.
And that will be the first yellow card of the match on FIU, a team that is good at getting booked. Their 25th yellow card as a team this season, and Mathis Lefebvre got called for this one.
25 in 8 games. That's, what's the word for that? Consistent?
No, they have been dangerous when it comes to the cards. They've also picked up 2 reds this season. They were both in the same match against Georgetown, a match that ended up being a 0-0 draw at Georgetown. FIU leads at 1-0. SMU trying to get dangerous. Berkovitz plays it across. Clanton Pimentel with the header, but over the top. And Nigel Van Havern had it played well anyway.
And that Georgetown game was the one that Coach Russell was saying was sort of Van Havren's coming out party, announcing to the world how good he is. If you can finish a game with 9 players on the field and still get a shutout against an exceptionally good side like the Georgetown Hoyas, you're playing great defense and you're getting spectacular goalkeeping, and that's what the Panthers got against Georgetown.
Yeah, he faced 23 shots in that match, and 9 of them were on frame. He stopped all 9. Sparks goes up to win the header here.
And it's easy to look at Van Haveren and say, okay, he's 6'7", he's got arms a mile long. Maybe he can just reach everything. And there's an element of truth to that, but he also covers ground very quickly.
Dos Santos Montero is there to test Dominguez again, but Dominguez turns it aside as once again Montero makes him turn to his left to make this save.
Beautiful save here by Dominguez. You see it getting through to Dos Santos Montero, who was aiming for that same lower right corner where he tucked the penalty kick. And Dominguez again lays out. This time he does get just one hand on it, but that was enough to turn it aside.
As you said, Dominguez, an excellent shot stopper, and he's had to do a lot of it here. Montero back out front. A drive from distance is knocked down. SMU trying to start something on a break. And finally a handball is issued. No, it's just going to be, is it going to be out or is it going to be a handball? Yeah, a handball is issued. And that will give it back to the SMU Mustangs.
On plays like this where there's the possibility of a violation, I sometimes watch the reaction of both the players and the coaches. When you're a player, when it happens against your team, a lot of times you'll see players giving hand signals, trying to help the officials with their call, but the coaches are usually more reserved and don't get too animated unless they're really sure. And all of the SMU coaches were smacking their forearm to try to help make sure that call was made, and eventually it was.
Pope's pass not heavy enough. Little tic-tac-toe in there. And eventually SMU nips it away. Neve Berkovitz sees Ryan Clanton Pimentel. SMU has some numbers forward. Those blue jerseys trying to get in position to be threatening here early in Dallas, but SMU has not done much against the Panther defense so far. 6-1 the shots in favor of the Panthers right now. That is a stark difference. Berkovitz shifting through defenders. Berkovitz has space, tries to get it to Escorcia, and has it nipped away by Edgar Aguilar, the general, a left back for FIU.
Really nice play by Aguilar. He saw Berkovitz dribbling through a couple of his FIU teammates, and he read that pass, I think, before Berkovitz even made it. Stepped into that passing lane and picked it off.
Joao Dominguez is called for the foul here, and Bailey Sparks wanted a card as well. Let's look.
Yeah, Bailey Sparks crossed up Dominguez, and nothing too dramatic in terms of his movement, but just able to give a little bit of a shoulder dip that got Dominguez leaning the wrong way. And then when Bailey Sparks crossed him over, Dominguez had no choice but to take him down, and did.
So a chance for Bailey Sparks to take the restart here, and without Kieran Pino in this match, it's going to be a lot of Bailey Sparks on these set pieces. FIU has given up 7 of their 10 goals against this year on set pieces. A line drive into the box, knocked straight up into the air. Brock Pope backs it up for SMU and tries to turn the center back. He played outside back, And looking for a corner kick, and evidently not. Pope was absolutely convinced it was last touched by the Panther defending. That was David Huja, who was trying to defend there for FIU.
And Van Haveren just showed off one of the other big weapons that he has. Not only can he apparently reach everything in sight, but he has an absolute rocket launcher of a leg. I was watching him during warm-ups, and he was punting the ball back and forth with one of the other FIU goalkeepers, about 3/4 of the length of the field, and he was hitting his target so accurately that the ball was landing in the other goalie's hands, which is incredible accuracy when you're talking about 70 or 80 yards. He takes that goal kick, and that just went about 70 yards as well. That is an absolute weapon that helps the Panthers get into the offensive third in a hurry. He can launch that thing 3/4 of the length of the field.
Berkovitz's drive knocked off the back of a defender. Djordjevic backs it up for SMU. Djordjevic dribbling through traffic. Djordjevic tripped up, but it's a play on. Here's Lamar Bynum. Bynum looking inside for Lopez, who goes down. And again, with no call.
The officials are letting these teams play. There have been, I mean, there was the one penalty kick, obviously, for Montero, but there have been a few others that could have been whistled for fouls that have been waved off.
Djordjevic again. Gets it to a cutting Sparks. Sparks has it knocked down. Escorcia back out to Salvo. Deflected and out of play. Corner kick for SMU.
Nice look by Escorcia, dropping back to Salvo, who rarely shoots for this Mustang team. Salvo is a guy whose primary focus and primary role is getting and maintaining possession through that middle third. But Salvo let it rip and just glanced it off the back of one of the defenders, setting up this corner. But as you mentioned a moment ago, this would be a corner where normally you'd see Kieran Pino as a left-footed server being able to bend it in toward the goal. Tonight, it's going to be all Sparks.
And the wind is blowing out here for Sparks. Sparks, the outswinger. It gets over the top of Bynum, backed up by Berkovitz. SMU able to keep possession. Mustangs have the last 2 shots in the match after FIU had a 6-1 advantage. Djordjevic cutting in. And here's Berkovitz setting up, making his 3rd straight start. Escorcia turning and taken down. Another foul and another card on FIU. This one goes on Leo Vilches. A yellow for the junior from Mexico City.
And Vilches immediately wags his finger as if to tell the officials, you got that one wrong, which is rarely a gesture that goes over well with the guys in orange. You know, visibly showing them up like that. To be fair, I don't know if the officials even saw his response, but he was convinced that he was not guilty here. And I also want to correct myself. A moment ago, I was talking about the corner kick, how it could have been Kieran Pino as a left-footed serve. But with a goalkeeper as big as Nigel Van Haveren, I don't know that from the far side a left-footed serve would have been selected, simply because you're curling it into the biggest goalkeeper you'll see all year.
Here's Bailey Sparks to the backside after the yellow card. Pope in toward Berkovitz, knocked out of harm's way, and Pope coming back up the field, runs through FIU's David Bacuzzo, and Pope thought it was a flop, but what else is he going to think? For the graduate transfer out of Bellarmine, he was the top defensive player in the ASUN a year ago, but playing an outside back position. And Pope getting his first chance to play center back at the collegiate level this year for SMU.
He's been such a welcome addition to this back line, and he started right off the bat on the left side, and then when Rubalcaba got hurt, Pope slid seamlessly into the middle. And it's one thing to have talented players, but to have talented players with the versatility to fill multiple roles, those guys are absolutely invaluable to coaches. And Pope is one of them.
Absolutely. Escorcia getting after the press. Who's this one on? or off of, I should say. Goes off of SMU last on a throw-in for the Panthers. See Joachim Bettina in.
No foul. Good, Ryan. Up.
There's French and Chad citizenship.
Up.
This one backed up by the Panthers and back into possession for FIU.
And since he's been in, Bettina and Bynum have engaged in a nice little one of the subplots, I guess, in the game, because as we saw a moment ago, the corner kick that went over Bynum, part of the reason it went over him is because Bettina got under him a little bit, didn't make really hard contact, but was just able to slide Bynum out of the way of the path of that ball. The two of them have been in close proximity ever since Bettina got on the field.
Well, if Bettina is French, if his hometown is out of France, it would be a tete-a-tete, right?
I'm going to take your word on that, yes.
Probably so. The SMU Mustangs will get the advantage here after the call. But I guess they just weren't ready to go, and Salvo loses it out.
I'm going to guess you took a lot more French classes than I did.
Not a one, actually.
Then we're equal.
Comes SMU as Escorcia tries to get forward. Little heel flick, and Berkovitz backs it up. Berkovitz looking for the cross back post, but Clinton Pimentel cut his route toward the center of the net rather than the left post.
And that was the right route for Clinton Pimentel, simply because, you know, he's 5'6". That's more than a foot shorter than the FIU goalkeeper, Nigel Van Haveren. And if he tries to go to the back post, there is not a ball in the world that's going to get over Van Haveren and come down to Clinton Pimentel. So his only hope is to cut in front of the keeper, hope the ball is low enough that he can get a head or his body on it.
And a good job to get the throw out of the deep corner, back up the field. Wonderful play by Owen Zarnik for SMU for a clean theft and to start the break back the other way. Berkovitz on the counter, trying to keep it going. Sparks couldn't grab it. And now the Panthers will try to counter with their speed. How much does this remind you of a few years ago? We're not scoring quite as many goals as that night with 10, but a lot of chances offensively for both sides tonight.
There are a lot of chances, but it feels different because, as my memory serves from that game, both teams were able to string together sequences of passes almost as if there wasn't a defense on the field. Tonight, it feels like both teams are almost a little bit out of sync with their passing. Obviously, you pass to somebody and the ball gets intercepted, that's one thing, but both teams have made some passes that were uncontested that simply missed their targets tonight.
FIU has to be one of the best 2-4-1 teams in the nation at this point.
I think that's a safe assertion.
Not just saying this because they're up on SMU on the road, but I thought that coming in, they've got to win over the number 10 team in the country at that point in UCF. You look at the rest of their schedule, and the loss at UNC looks better and better every moment because UNC is now number 3 in the nation. Good idea by Dos Santos Montero, trying to slide it into Apia, but just out in front of him.
And FIU started the year struggling to find the back of the net. Well, something has clicked in because they then strung together 7 goals in 2 games. So this offense has woken up, to say the least.
They weren't quite able to be as dangerous as they wanted to be last time out in a road loss at South Florida, a conference matchup. FIU head coach Kyle Russell saying that South Florida did some things to neutralize the Panthers in the final third. They also didn't have Michael Apia in a starting role. He hadn't been able to train, and he was available just as needed. They brought him in the second half of that game to try to give him an opportunity to be a factor. But with Apia back on the field for a full allotment of minutes tonight, FIU looks like they got a chance to break out once again.
Apia's presence changes everything for this offense, and Kyle Russell was talking about how when Apia was working his way back from injury, it was almost a matter of play him at your own risk, because Apia is so competitive and does everything so hard that you didn't want him to wear himself out or put himself into harm's way again, simply because he only knows one speed. He doesn't coast through anything. But to his credit, Apia put in all that time in rehab and physical therapy, getting back to full health. And again, it's a very, very different FIU offense when number 11 is in the lineup.
SMU Mustangs make some changes in this one, including Brendan Baird coming in up front. But FIU is on the attack and feeling dangerous once again. Right at the edge of the 18, Montero dancing over it for FIU. Gives some ground back to Bocuzo. And SMU's Noah Urban, who just came in at the right outside back position for Niko Djordjevic, is able to slide it into touch. Additionally for SMU, the Mustangs have brought Jalen Mitchell in to play an outside back position. Mitchell was set to start in an outside back spot in the first match of the year, and because of an injury to Neve Berkovitz, he moved to the midfield. And he's been playing there ever since this season, which is more his natural position, but he is, of course, capable, as Irvin got crossed up. And it will be another corner here. So you're going to look at Jalen Mitchell there, who will be roaming the outside back position for SMU toward the end of this half.
We talked a moment ago about Brock Pope and how he has the versatility to play pretty much anywhere across the back line for SMU. Well, Mitchell and Irvin both have sort of that Swiss Army knife kind of attributes to them as well. They both can play multiple positions and fill numerous different roles.
In-swinger by Dos Santos Montero. It gets knocked away. Escorcia tries to play it out to Neve Berkovitz. Berkovitz reaches it and looks for a decision. Goes over the top for Baird in a crowd of three. Brendan Baird after it in the land of the center backs. Sparks was there for a moment, but it gets played back to Jalen Mitchell. SMU recollects, looking to equalize the game. Escorcia.
Really nice job by Brendan Baird as that ball was sent into triple coverage, and he was able to fight through it, and he wasn't able to get a shot off, but just by keeping possession. Nice job by Brendan Baird.
Another forward ball. Apia is in on Martin Dominguez and makes Dominguez kick it into the bench to keep Apia from reaching it. Pretty good weight on that ball, but just out in front of Apia by Dos Santos Montero.
If you can send it far enough that Apia can't track it down, you've given a ball a ride, because as we've said all night and will continue to point out, that young man can fly.
FIU looking for just their fourth win all time against the SMU Mustangs. 1-0 lead on the PK goal by Dos Santos Montero. As this dribbles into the 18, and Zarnik is able to feed it back out to midfield.
You mentioned a little while ago that Zarnik's probably the best passer on that back line. That was a beautiful left-footed serve, sort of a pitching wedge out of the back of the 18, and he dropped it virtually into Escorcia's lap from about 40 yards away. It's one of those that doesn't show up in the box score, but a beautiful pass by Zarnik.
Zarnik coming off his first career goal. Off a corner kick serve by Kieran Pino, a header by the 6'4" and change Owen Zarnik to put the SMU Mustangs in front 2-0 that night. Another corner kick is on the way here for FIU.
And it was an impressive goal because, look, anytime you get a goal as a defender, you're going to be very excited, and he was, and rightly so. But to score a goal like that against Virginia Tech is a different animal than scoring against a lot of other teams, because Virginia Tech has the tallest roster I've seen in years. They had 6'4s and 6'5s all over the place. And in that game, Zarnik really climbed the ladder to go get his first goal. Beautiful finish.
Saw there the second goal by a defender this season for SMU. The other one is the free kick by Kieran Pino to win at Cal. Salvo back out to midfield. There's been a lot of consistent possession for FIU here in this opening half, and for the Mustangs in this one, certainly early on they missed Kieran Pino, and they were also met with a very determined Panther bunch who came up short in a conference game, but they know that this non-conference match against a top 25 team in the nation can really help them with their at-large bid resume as the season goes on, and all is certainly not lost after a 2-4-1 start.
Absolutely. I mean, this is an FIU team that is clearly not afraid of the Mustangs just because they're ranked and just because this is a road game. They know, the Panthers know they can compete with SMU. And to your point, sure, 2-4-1 is not the record they would have drawn up given their druthers, but they've been missing some guys with injuries. And as you mentioned, Georgetown, there were the red cards that made things more difficult. If they can come on the road against the number 16 team in the country and get a result, whether it's a draw or a win, that could be an enormous springboard for these Panthers going into the second half of their season.
No doubt. They had 8 matches left in the regular season coming into tonight. At least 3 probably against top 25 teams, maybe more, just depending on how things go. And 6 matches in conference play as that one goes off the head of Sagamonian. And ripping out to punch on it is Van Havern. But man, Sagamonian took one right off the head there.
He did, but Van Haveren showing that he's not just big, he's also quick. Raced out and snatched that ball at about 17 yards off his goal line and then fired a fastball over to the left flank. He's got, I hate the word,
they're trying to let the leash off of Nigel Van Havern, they said, and just make sure he knows it's not just a 6-yard box that's his, it's the whole 18. And he says, I'd rather you make a mistake being aggressive than scared, so go all out.
And based on what we've seen through the first 38 minutes, I think he has been listening and taking notes because he has covered a lot of ground in that 18-yard box for FIU.
Of course, he's been under assault this season. He's faced a lot of shots. Only really given up 3 goals in the, well, as this is going to be a foul on FIU on Nicholas Villalobos. But 3 on non-restart plays this season. The rest of them have either been penalty kicks or off of corners or off of free kicks. And so that says a lot for Nigel Van Havern that he has been able to stand up and make those type of plays in live action. As Apia and Villalobos sit down for the first time in the first half after some great work. Dominguez gets pressured. Henrik Matsoli is on to play that forward spot. He was in on the pressure there, and Driss Nasser is in as well at an attacking midfield position. He started last time out for FIU, but coming off the bench here.
It's weird. You would think that an FIU team that came in 2-4-1 going on the road against a ranked team, you could almost understand if the Panthers took sort of a more conservative stance. But for much of the first half, it has been the Mustangs who have been playing a pretty deep block and absorbing punches from the Panthers. And it will be interesting to see how the Mustangs regroup and maybe change their shape in the second half as they try to get an equalizer.
You get the sense, especially getting some guys some rest here in the first half, that Kevin Hudson would love to see his team, yeah, you want the equalizer, but get to halftime with the score the way it is. And then tactically see what they can do to try to get it right in the second half. Seeing some rare first half minutes for Enzo Pinozo. He goes over the top to Baird, who wins the race to this ball. Plays it back for Pinozo. Makes the right pass to Salvo, who turns all the way around it. Salvo trying to get stuck in and stay that way. And another foul coming up here against FIU as the two sides start to get really heated with 5 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, I think that started because Salvo was trying to fight his way through 2 Panthers to keep possession, and one of them, I didn't see which, grabbed Salvo's arm. Not enough to yank him down, but just enough to slow him down a little bit.
And maybe Vilches, who is getting talked to here, remember he's already on a yellow.
Yeah, he's really got to be careful.
And had he not already been on a yellow in this one, this might have been another one from Daniel Radford. And yeah, there were a couple guys there trying to pull him back, and then that slide by Vilches drew the ire of Daniel Radford as well.
Sure, and it's all good and well to support and defend your teammates at all costs, but you've also got to be smart about it. And if you're Vilches and you're already carrying one yellow, you've got to let someone else come in and be the policeman.
Here's Sparks on the restart. In the air, the header goes the wrong way, but the goal is there for Owen Zarnik. Back-to-back games, Owen Zarnik has put SMU on the board. This one is the equalizer, and SMU ties it at 1.
This goal is absolutely gorgeous for two reasons. One, Owen Zarnik slips and falls in all the congestion. We'll see the replay here when Bailey Sparks serves this ball into the middle. Owen Zarnik gets caught in the crossfire and hits the deck. Here you see the serve. That's Zarnik lying on the ground at the 18. Comes up, gets off the ground, and picks a volley out of the air about knee-high and just cracks this shot. Bangs it off the bottom of the crossbar. And Nigel Van Haveren is the tallest goalkeeper SMU will see all year, and even he couldn't reach that one. Unbelievable shot by Owen Zarnik.
You don't think that was the way that set piece was supposed to go?
Yeah, let's draw this up. All right, Zarnik, you fall down, and then everybody else pass it out to the guy who's lying on the ground and let him take a one-timer out of midair. Pretty sure that Kevin Hudson's a creative coach, but I'm pretty sure that is not how he drew that up.
I think you'll get a secondary assist to Bailey Sparks and a primary assist from Brock Pope, who won that one in the air and went right back to Zarnik. And the SMU Mustangs tie it up at 1. I said they weren't looking for the equalizer. I was dead wrong.
Exactly right. We were both probably thinking, okay, the Mustangs are going to try to get to the locker room, down a goal, and regroup at the intermission. But to get a lift like that on a beautiful, not just a goal, but an absolutely beautiful rocket shot by Zarnik, we'll see how much that gives a jolt of energy, a boost to these Mustangs who, let's be honest, have been sort of playing back, not playing on their heels, but have been weathering the storm, shall we say, in much of the first half. And all of a sudden, that's changed. We're all equal. It's a new game.
Yeah, you don't want to accuse a team of sleepwalking, but as Bailey Sparks is fully into this game now, I think the physicality of this match helped wake up SMU as well, not only the early penalty kick goal.
Yeah, and that can happen, right? If teams are playing very passively, it's easy to sort of, I don't want to say go through the motions, but it's easy to be a little bit less intense. But when you get knocked down to the ground enough times, or when you see your teammate get knocked down to the ground enough times, that can light a fire in some people, and I think it has done that for both teams.
So penalty kick goal by Bernardo dos Santos Montero got it started for FIU, and then Owen Zarnik scores his second goal in as many games after the defender didn't score in his first 33 games of his career. I mean, in most of his career, he's been a center back, and so you can certainly understand why he wouldn't be on the scoreboard. But how about that? In back-to-back games, all of a sudden, you bring a couple IDs, you open up your account, and then you get another one.
For 2.5 years, we've been talking about Zarnik as a solid defender and a terrific passer and a big body on set pieces. Now we've got to watch a scoring streak for number 3.
2.5 minutes remaining in the opening half. Things starting to calm down just a bit after FIU was dominating the run of play early on in the match. SMU's first shot on goal in this match goes in as Owen Zarnik bangs one off of the crossbar and it down. Now here come the Panthers. Haley Sparks gets back to poke this one into the air. A header by Bettina to the top of the 18. The third ball eventually won by the Panthers, and FIU will try to continue to cycle through it. But Bynum, who has been playing some of his best soccer in an SMU uniform over the last couple games, is there.
Bynum, again, just like Noah Irvin, just like Jalen Mitchell, just like Brock Pope, a guy who can fill a number of different roles. And Kevin Hudson and the SMU coaches are thrilled to have players like that.
He's Steve Lansdale. I'm John Little. Our entire ACC network crew along for this non-conference game. And it's always been a good rivalry between these two teams. And it is really ramping up in the first half of this matchup.
We talked about it in the pregame show, or in the pregame, that SMU had won 18 of the first 21 meetings between these two schools. But while the wins and losses have been lopsided, a lot of the games have been very, very close. And tonight's no different.
2-2 last year after SMU took a 2-0 lead in the first half of that matchup. 6-4 a couple seasons ago. The previous two wins were by SMU, but they were both in overtime. Here's Enzo Pinozo trying to make a run late in the first half. Pinozo pushed from behind with no call until right now. And it will give SMU a quick chance for a restart, and the clock will stop with about 31 seconds left in the first half. Ball had gotten far enough away where Daniel Radford thought it's the right thing to do. Stop the clock here and make sure SMU got a chance after the foul.
The ball got far away because of a little bit of gamesmanship by David Huja, who picked up the ball, and while he was lobbying that there shouldn't have been a whistle, he's also walking away with the ball. He knows how many ticks there are left on the clock.
Sparks serve. Settles down to Mitchell. Mitchell turns it, chips it to the back post, and just a little bit wide. Wow, Mitchell knew what he had to do to possibly get that one home. It just missed.
Exactly. On a more traditional looking goalkeeper, he might have turned and ripped this shot, but he knew that there's a 6'7" tree in front of the goal, and if he was going to float that over, he had to pull out his pitching wedge and float it way over to get it over Van Haveren.
And he just missed.
Van Haveren absolutely changes shots even when they're not on goal and even when they're not in his reach.
That's an excellent point. Only one shot on goal for SMU in the first half, but it went down for Owen Zarnik. FIU picks up the PK goal in the 8th minute of this match, and it is on like Donkey Kong in Dallas. The SMU Mustangs and the FIU Panthers tied at 1 at the end of the first half. The halftime report coming up next here on the ACC Network.
Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, giving you even more.
It's a natural inclination to just launch the ball as far as you can, even if it goes out of bounds, allow your teammates to regroup and set back up. And I think the Mustangs did some of that in the early going, and that is not their style. That is not who the Mustangs are. It sort of looked like the Mustangs took a deep breath and realized, okay, we've taken a punch from FIU, but we can stand our ground. And so they started building more patiently out of the back and working through that middle third, and that led to some chances up front.
Also, this FIU team is going to foul at some point. That's just part of their MO. And so you are going to get restarts. You're going to get free kicks in this match. And now it's 8 of the 11 goals for FIU this season have been given up on restarts, including the SMU goal in that first half.
Exactly. And teams can get away with committing a lot of fouls if they then defend well on set pieces. But for a team to come into tonight's game with a 2-4-1 record, part of the reason for that is you commit a lot of fouls and you've had some confusion defending on the ensuing set pieces. That's a bad recipe. Nigel Van Haveren ready to start the second half for FIU.
But a block out front. Nice job to run this one down by Matsoli, and it will give SMU a chance at a throw-in here. Panthers out shooting SMU 7-5 in that opening half. Niko Djordjevic getting the started outside back again, and he's in there to start the second half. Find it interesting that Jalen Mitchell is in there to get a start in the second half at an outside back position. Evidently Kevin Hudson liked what he saw when Jalen Mitchell was in there at that left outside back spot, so he starts the second half.
Yeah, Mitchell's one of those sort of electric players who has a knack for creating chances and creating
Danny Escorcia in there after some pushing and shoving, and you saw how Joao Dominguez was trying to let the ball go and guarding it, and Escorcia coming in behind him tried to nip at the ball, knock it off of him, get it back for SMU, and the Panthers took exception, especially Edgar Aguilar, who is the enforcer of the group.
Yeah, you described Escorcia as nipping at the ball, but he also nipped at the back of his leg, and that frankly can be, that can be with in a vulnerable position for a player. So it's understandable that some of the FIU teammates came to his defense.
Remember, Escorcia missed the UIW game after picking up his 5th yellow against Cal. Djordjevic out wide. Djordjevic thought about serving it across, gets onto his left foot. Djordjevic bombs one. It's over the top.
Djordjevic has a really versatile array of moves that he does, and so often he goes up and down the right sideline, but he can cut through the middle of the field, and he doesn't shoot a lot, and when he does shoot, it's usually right-footed. So even when he took a diagonal run toward the top of the box, it would be easy to think, okay, he's looking for a teammate to pass to, and then boom, he pulls the trigger and really gave it a ride with his left foot. Nice run by Djordjevic, and I'm assuming he'd love to have that one back to try to get that on frame.
SMU playing without possibly their best player in Kieran Pino, as David Bucuzzo twists up Djordjevic and hog ties him down.
I don't know how Bucuzzo could argue that one. He did have both arms wrapped around Djordjevic.
Oh, that was a hard serve by Djordjevic again. And it ricochets out top. Salvo trying to back it up. And too heavy of a touch by Sparks. Here comes Dos Santos Montero. That deflects off of Zarnik and out wide. An opportunity for Dominguez. Goes back post. Montero settles it down in the 18. Guarded by Mitchell. Goes out front. And a weak left-footed shot is guarded wide. And Martin Dominguez able to eliminate the chance by David Bucuzzo.
Not a lot on that shot, but it was a little more dangerous than it initially appeared. I've got to believe that Martin Dominguez was screened on that shot and didn't see it until it was halfway through the crowd of bodies in front of him. He was able to lay out to his left and make sure that it didn't do any damage.
Two goalkeepers of very different statures here tonight. Dominguez at 5'10" and the 6'7" Van Havert. Here's Berkovitz out front, tries to play it across, and Mitchell ends up winning it. Sparks delays, shoots, and by Van Havert again.
Tell me it's not nice to be 6'7" when you're a goalkeeper. He hit the deck and his arms just kept extending and extending, and not only did he block it, but he was able to snatch it up without a rebound.
And SMU, after the run by Bynum, will get the corner kick.
Nice job by Sparks, in part because he had Jalen Mitchell streaking down the left side, and you've got to think that Van Haveren saw Mitchell outside, therefore froze for just a half a second, giving Sparks a little bit of room at that lower left corner. But again, Van Haveren just covers a ton of space.
Another set piece chance. This will be more natural for Sparks out of that far corner. He can in-swing it. Goes back post. Brock Pope right to the mouth of the goal where Van Haveren makes the easy save.
And Van Haveren is a goalkeeper who really likes to initiate fast breaks. He's a big guy. He runs with the ball rather than just sort of jogging casually. And then he fires fastballs to his teammates running out of the back end. He has a strong arm, just like we talked about his strong leg in the first half. He is an absolute weapon as sort of a point. Here you see Pope get the header in on goal, and Van Haveren immediately fired a ball out to the side.
And that was, the serve was over the top of the tallest player for FIU, besides the keeper,
Second
of course, David Huja, the 23-year-old freshman out of Jerusalem, who has played every single minute at center back this season for the FIU Panthers. There's a foul on Mitchell.
And Mitchell getting back into a defensive stance a little bit gingerly. Makes you wonder if he maybe got hit in the ankle or the foot. But he's going to try to stay in and run through this.
Panthers were putting a ton of pressure on early. Now it feels like FIU is really playing to survive. They're dangerous at any time. Zarnik heads it away the first time. It's loose in the 18, and Bailey Sparks goes all the way across to make sure his defense can recollect.
We talked about how the inclination can be when you're back on your heels a little bit. Just knock the ball out, let your team regroup. When Bailey Sparks hit that ball, he was about 16 yards off the goal line. Every single SMU player was within a couple yards of the top of the 18. Very, very deep defensive block there, and he was just allowing his team to fight another day.
Another foul coming against FIU. It's going to be foul number 11 tonight, and Sparks has been caught in a couple of these tangles.
Foul number 11 with 38 minutes still to go.
But this is not unlike FIU. They average almost 16 fouls a match, and it's not unlike SMU to force teams into fouls. Opponents average more than 16 fouls a match against SMU. In fact, if the SMU opponents this season were an individual team, they would have the third most fouls per game in the nation. Why does SMU force teams to foul is going to be my question after this odd man rush. A play out to Berkovitz, tries to chip it right back inside, and Berkovitz backs it up outside the 18. The serve across looking for Mitchell, and it's played out the backside. Here comes Prince Angelica, and he's not able to handle it on that pass up the right.
SMU forces a lot of fouls by its opponents because SMU is a very technically sound team. They don't need to bang a lot of players around because they do pass very cleanly and maintain possession to the point that one way to knock them off the ball is to knock them off the ball.
Sometimes that's the only resort. Escorcia tries to turn on it, and on his drive, it's knocked over the end line, another corner coming for SMU. It's their third of the night.
And just as the field felt tilted in FIU's favor for much of the first half, it now feels like it's been tilted a little bit the opposite direction. The Mustangs playing with a slightly different shape, playing a little bit higher with their wingbacks. Jalen Mitchell on the left and Nico Djordjevic on the right, trying to force the issue and put the Panthers back on their heels rather than standing back as much as they did in the first half themselves.
Served by Sparks, and look at those hands with the pink sleeves just pop out of the crowd. Nigel Van Haveren has it.
And again, a fastball all the way to midfield. He has an incredible throwing arm.
Oh, great pass inside, and Dominguez has to make sure that that one goes wide. It was going to go wide anyway by FIU, but Dos Santos Montero really threaded this one to Villalobos, and it was dangerous.
It was. Beautiful pass, sort of wrapped around the back of defender. And I think Owen Zarnik may have slightly deflected it as well, but you're right, Martin, he did. So it was going to go wide, but it wasn't going to go wide by much, and Martin Dominguez had to erase all doubt and just make sure.
It's on the ground at the top of the 6. The sidewinding shot by Vilches is blocked, and SMU able to get it out of harm's way. Meanwhile, the keeper, Van Haveren, plays one all the way to the top of the 18. It's headed out by Djordjevic, and SMU starts back the other way with Neve Berkovitz.
we've talked about all the things that Van Haveren does well and is still learning to do well. And the strength he has in his leg and his throwing arm, those are absolute weapons that very few goalkeepers in the country can match. When he comes 40 yards off his line, he's serving passes into the opposing box, and it's not by accident, and he's doing it with accuracy and power. He is an incredibly dangerous player.
We'll see what SMU has for this set piece as Bailey Sparks tries to serve one to put his team in front. But again, this is a spot where you would see Kieran Pino if he was available. Sparks, line drive, back post, sidewinding shot, loose in the box. Was it knocked down by a hand? SMU is convinced it was. Instead, it's just a point to the corner. Daniel Radford is insistent.
And again, I often watch coaches' responses. The SMU coaches, as a rule, are not very animated guys. And every single one of them had their hands up in the air, insisting they thought they saw a handball.
Sparks looking for both Zarnik and Pope. Zarnik missed it in the air, and Pope pops it over the top. Well, look at this. What SMU wanted as a handball, as it just ricochets back toward the back of Aguilar, and his hand happy to be there.
Yeah, okay, so I understand why the Mustangs wanted a handball. Of course you want a handball when you're in the other team's box. But that was one of those where clearly the response or the impression from referee Daniel Radford was that he did not hit the ball with his hand, the ball hit him. And therefore, I think it was correct to a very good no call.
Salvo takes one away, playing deep. Here's Escorcia. Escorcia puts his man on the ground, turns the corner. A full whirling dervish for Escorcia. Plays it out front. Sparks overruns it for a moment, but is able to keep possession, stay strong, feed it to Djordjevic, and Djordjevic has it taken away. It's Dominguez. Up the field, Montero. And Montero slid down by Brock Pope, who stands up to make an excellent play on a bang-bang offering on the slide tackle.
The Panthers are upset that there wasn't a foul called there. Pope absolutely got the ball. I know that hurts when you get hit in the ankle, and when you're the player who ends up on the ground, it's always going to feel like it should have been a foul. But in this case, again, just like on the other end, good non-call.
Daniel Radford stops time to go back and talk to Brock Pope for some reason. A couple other captains getting in there to see what this is all about. Yeah.
And Daniel Radford running them off, saying this is a conversation just with Brock Pope. Yeah, you see clearly Pope got the ball.
It's an AB conversation, see your way out of it.
Say again?
This is an AB conversation and see your way out of it.
Yes, exactly.
Good weight on this one to Jalen Mitchell. Mitchell dancing. Mitchell plays it inside. It ricochets. Djordjevic is joining. Djordjevic drives it in, and yet another corner coming up for a dangerous SMU bunch.
Nice job by Jalen Mitchell, as you said, dancing through a couple of defenders, and then Djordjevic comes racing up. Cranks a one-time left-footed shot that gets deflected wide. So stop us if you've heard this before, but Bailey Sparks with another corner.
Fifth corner of the night for SMU. Make it number 6 now, excuse me. Sparks. Still loose in the box. Finally, FIU able to get it out of there. And a long ball for a running Angelica. Angelica 1v2, trying to turn the corner. And a nice defensive play is made by SMU.
A nice patience by the Mustangs building out of the back. The Panthers are pressing pretty hard to try to force the issue, force the SMU defense into an error. And when you do that, when your opponent is doing that to you, the best response is let the ball do the work, make your opponent chase the ball, and let them do the running without getting too close to the ball.
Zarnik had a dot on a diagonal pass down to Jalen Mitchell, and SMU's able to repossess. Here goes Danny Escorcia. Escorcia left the ball behind him for a moment, giving some ground and attracting players as he does. Now Bailey Sparks, SMU's most creative midfield player, trying to get it going again. Escorcia full turn, looking up the field. Tries to play through Lopez, gets it out to Mitchell. Mitchell to the corner of the 18. Mitchell dancing in, and yet another ball goes over the end line. That one was kicked by an FIU player and went off of a Panther as well. The 7th corner is on the way.
Ended up being the same result that it would have been. I think they were just trying to. I think the Panthers were just trying to knock it out. As it is, pinballed it off a teammate, which is only significant if it happens to pinball back toward your own goal, but that didn't happen, so no harm, no foul. Another corner kick for SMU.
Sparks especially dangerous from here, and the wind is blowing into the back post and really to the crossbar, where Van Haveren had to make sure, and it creates another corner. Yeah, he did not want that one to get through to Pope.
I'm not sure that wouldn't have curled all the way in.
Might have.
And a lot of players will go their whole careers taking corner kicks and never curl one in on the fly. If Sparks had curled one in over this particular goalkeeper, that would be a highlight for the rest of his career.
FIU thankful to have Michael Apia back in. You know the difference he made in this match when he was in there. He replaces Prince Angelica. Here's Sparks. Back post. Mitchell settles it down. Mitchell trying to do work again. Looks to center it. And yet another corner coming up for SMU.
We talked to Kyle Russell about Apia working his way back from injury. And so when you're going to have a player on limited minutes, part of the chess match that you play with the opposing coach and with yourself really is...
Oh, another one, a beautiful job, and Berkovich just misses on that one. Berkovich got lost on the back post.
He did, and lucky for SMU, was deflected by one of the Panthers.
Yeah, it was his countryman from Israel, David Huja.
When you've got a guy like Apia, there's the question, do you bring him back right out of the halftime intermission, or do you do what Coach Russell has done, which is let him sit for the first 20 minutes and then bring him in fresh? So the SMU defenders, who have been running already, now have to deal with the fastest player on the field who has fresh legs. That cannot be a fun task.
Here's Sparks, 10th corner. And this one gets behind the defense again. Mitchell backs it up. Berkovich, it's a dangerous spot for him. It's deflected, and Escorcia is on it now. Escorcia with traffic in front, and this one is pumped high, evidently not deflected. And finally, after all that pressure, the Panthers can breathe a sigh of relief.
And that one, more than a couple of the others, looked like it changed direction.
So SMU continuing to apply pressure after getting the equalizing goal late in the first half. Coming from Owen Zarnik, scoring in his 2nd straight game. Sweeping big leg of Van Haveren well beyond midfield. And the foul and a card coming against SMU. Bailey Sparks was the one who traded body blows with Nicholas Villalobos here.
Yeah, you see Sparks tried to wave off the call or expressed his disagreement, but he clearly arrives a step late here, and Villalobos takes the brunt of that in his what looks like his right ankle.
More, backside. Hey, backside. Let's go. Hey, set up first.
Villalobos still down. Sparks with the yellow card.
Maybe Sparks was less disappointed with the call and more disappointed with himself for arriving a step late and getting in on Villalobos.
Quick restart into Apia, but Neve Berkovitz joins to help out on the play and pump it well beyond midfield. And you're right, they immediately try to get it to Nigel Van Havern with some space. Van Havern picks his spot up the left channel. Djordjevic heads it out, but Dos Santos Montero wins that second ball. And Sparks comes back to take it away. Berkovitz up to Lopez. Lopez tried to step around the defender, Aguilar, and Aguilar says no, absolutely not. Even looks for some more encouragement from his mates on the sideline. Berkovitz knocks this one down. Gives Lopez a chance to turn and face. Lopez looking for Berkovitz. Berkovitz coming in from the 18 and earning another corner for SMU, the deflection off of Aguilar.
Nice job by Berkovitz as he runs the diagonal overlapping run with Lopez, and just a soft pass that Berkovitz was able to meet with some speed, forcing Aguilar to backpedal a little bit. And Aguilar did a nice job just getting in front of it. Sure, you don't want to give up the corner, but you sure don't want Neve Berkovitz driving toward the goal either.
Bailey Sparks may have to go the whole 90 tonight. Another corner. And this one is headed up top, played away. Nice job by Dos Santos Montero to get it up to Apia very quickly. Another play in, Apia racing after it. And Martin Dominguez able to reach it first for SMU in this game, knotted at 1. Get a chance to appreciate the right leg of Van Havern.
It's hard not to.
It is a special fulcrum that he's got to work with.
And the same with his throwing arm.
I didn't know there were that many shades of pink.
That's true. He's 6'7". He's got all the tools in the world. And in that goalie uniform, you can see him from outer space.
Another great play by Bynum. And SMU tries to start something. Where have the Mustangs been better defensively in the second half? And let you think on that while Djordjevic tries to turn up the field. Djordjevic inside to Escorcia, back to Djordjevic on the 1-2, inside the box, trying to beat 2. Djordjevic turns back on it. Some good defense, but now he's got space. Feeds it across. Berkovitz knocks it down. Sparks channeling after it and gets it to Bynum. Bynum from distance, knocked down.
Nice shoulder charge there by Bailey Sparks, who seems to be a master at leaning into someone and driving through him. But if he keeps his arm and shoulder down, doing it without drawing a whistle.
Escorcia, they've gotten away with a little push off. He creates space, bombs one and over the top. It's shot number 15 by SMU. But I just ask, where has SMU been better defensively, you think, in the second part of this game?
It feels like the wingbacks, Djordjevic and in this case, Jalen Mitchell, have helped back a little more on the outside. And, Kevin Hudson, just like every other coach in the world, will tell you that defending is an 11-person job, and it is. But you've already got Alex Salvo and Bailey Sparks, and they've been sitting a little bit deeper as well. So they've simply changed their shape and gotten a little bit, they've pinched forward more with the wingbacks, but they've also brought 6 or 7 guys back to help on defense rather than relying on 4 or 5.
And Mitchell's going to earn a card here for running through this play. And you see Leo Vilches, who has earned his own yellow today. He is hurting. Another man on his back, David Bocuzo, or rather that's Matias Lefebvre. Vilches, the junior, out of Mexico City, who played for Pachuca Academy and Liga Mexico. See what happened here. That was not the card. This is, as Mitchell arrives just a little bit late, and it looked as though it was Vilches' kick and Mitchell just putting his boot in there that caused the contact.
It didn't seem like the heaviest contact between the two. And, I mean, I get it. If you get hit in the right spot, it can really, really hurt. Lucky for FIU, Vilches is up and staying in the game.
Cards now even at 2. Fouls are not even, though. Fouls 11-6. FIU has been caught more than SMU has in this one, and you see just switched to 12-6. 21 minutes left in Dallas. 1-1 the score. Is somebody going to break through here? And that ball is just a little bit wide as the center back David Huja tried to hit Bocuzo. Bailey Sparks called for the foul at midfield. This ball gets right past Mitchell by Vilches. Mitchell recovers. Vilches couldn't keep it off the line. He's frustrated.
Nice hustle by Mitchell, who got beat by a crossover dribble, but then stayed with it and chased down Vilches and basically coerced him into dribbling the ball over the touchline by himself. Not a steal by Mitchell, but earning a takeaway will score you points with your coaching staff every time.
Long ball by Zarnik, and the header out by FIU earns a throw-in for Djordjevic. These are throw-ins in this place where Cesar Rubalcaba would be taking them if he were healthy. You also see Kieran Pino on the bench, not available today, and the newly blonde Rubalcaba over on the left side.
You think that helps with throw-ins?
We'll find out in about 2 or 3 weeks. Djordjevic. Popped into the air by Zarnik. Pope has eyes on it. It's kept alive. Here's Bailey Sparks trying to feed it deeper, and it's at least cleared for now. Bynum keeps it down. Neve Berkovitz looks to operate for SMU. Gives way to Escorcia. Escorcia slides it down, and just looking for a deflection was Lopez. And on the quick restart, this ball is going to go to FIU. Trying to determine why. Maybe there was some contact in the box as Van Haveren was advancing up the field to try to throw that, perhaps?
Maybe, but he got the ball away and FIU had possession, so it seemed like an opportunity for Daniel Radford to swallow his whistle and play the advantage, but he didn't.
.6'7" Nigel Van Haveren out of the Netherlands. The Dutch keeper puts it over the top. SMU wins the first and second ball, but the third one falls to Dos Santos Montero. Panthers have been silent in the second half. Can they break through? 8 goals this season, playing in their 8th game. FIU reverses it, tries to go through the middle for Villalobos, but it's sniped away by Bynum, who again continues to play well at that left back position for SMU. Djordjevic creates a little space, attracts 3, and looking to distribute. Couldn't do it cleanly. The Panthers looking to play it ahead, out wide. Montero is not able to hold it along the wing once more. Panthers have had a couple of those situations. Now Djordjevic turning and advancing. Djordjevic gets knocked down on the play, and that is going to be a yellow card on the Panthers as Djordjevic goes down. And the captain for FIU, Edgar Aguilar, doesn't want help up yet.
Subtle little gamesmanship maybe by Djordjevic. You go down, you draw the whistle, you draw a card, and then if you're the one to offer to help your opponent up, does it dictate the balance of power or the momentum? No, but it's one of those where, as you said, Aguilar just may not want to accept that hand from Djordjevic.
For Aguilar, only his second yellow card this season. Bocuzo came in leading the team with 3 yellows on the year. Aguilar does have a red, however. One of the 2 players to pick up a red in the Georgetown tie. There's a restart for Bailey Sparks. That right foot has been busy. Sparks curls one, popped into the air. Berkovitz wins the second header. It's driven deeper, still alive, and then popped toward the moon by FIU.
Almost reached the moon, I think.
There's Djordjevic. Turning down that right side. Djordjevic racing. Now playing with the pace. Splits defenders, he's into the box, slots it across, and it's cleared. Salvo able to get it back to Djordjevic as SMU continues to threaten. Here's Lopez, man on his back. Able to hold it up for Djordjevic. Djordjevic serves it across. Solid header out by Huja. And Salvo written down by Bernardo dos Santos Montero.
What a sequence from Nico Djordjevic. Running onto the ball, splitting 2 defenders, and then tracking it down again, getting across into the middle. Nico Djordjevic, he's usually not the first one that you think of when you start listing the weapons that SMU has, but he is an absolute handful for opposing teams.
Daniel Radford goes for his notebook. Remember this year in men's college soccer, if you leave in a half, you cannot return. And so the day will be done for Joao Domingues. Same story for David Bocuzo. Coming on for the first time is Adrian Barosen, a senior from Norway who spent 3 years at Missouri State. This is his second season with FIU, making his 7th appearance this season. Another important restart on the way. Clock in the building is set to 16:15. Sparks free kick. Wow, what a play by Nigel Van Havern. Now he loses the ball and play resumes before it is cleared away, and you can hear the bench of FIU none too pleased. But Michael Appiah has an advantage. He races back toward the ball, crosses over on it. Appiah still going and backtracking on the play is Bynum there. Bynum racing after it once more. Now it's Pope trying to get it out of trouble, and finally Salvo able to do so.
Nigel Van Havern was none too pleased either as he got his hands on the ball. And here you see the serve by Sparks, and here comes Van Havern. And with those arms, he's about 10 feet tall, right? He goes up and over everyone, and when he comes down, actually it was the ground that knocked the ball out. So that is a free ball, but one of the Mustangs hit it so quickly it looked as if an SMU player had knocked it out of his hands.
This will be a foul coming against FIU in the box on that attempted cross by Bernardo dos Santos Montero. And it's Djordjevic that was run over inside the 18 by Adrian Barozan.
And we could hear Djordjevic's reaction. We're half a field away, plus we're up 20 rows in the stands, and we're wearing headsets. Niko Djordjevic, that one hurt. And obviously,
yeah, Bailey Sparks seeing that Djordjevic is going to need a sub here.
Yeah, there's always the game that goes on with you go down, something hurts, you get a second to catch your breath, and then you're able to keep going. But Mustangs are going to have to replace number 20 in the lineup, and make no mistake, that is a significant loss. Niko Djordjevic has been fantastic tonight.
And he's had to be without the services of Kieran Pino this evening.
Right, so now you're without both of your regular wingbacks, one on each side of the field.
And those were the players that Kevin Hudson thought were the most key in this matchup. And Pino, for some reason, was a late scratch, and now Djordjevic, after playing most of this match, is going to leave with 15 minutes to go. A match you'd know he would love to stay in, as SMU looks for another win in this series over FIU. And the Panthers try to hold on for a road draw against a top 25 team.
Yeah, a road draw at SMU is a good result for FIU. Not that they don't deserve to be in an even game with SMU. It seems like they always are. But if you're 2-4-1 and you can go get a draw on the road against any nationally ranked opponent, that could be a great springboard. And let's make no mistake, 14 and a half minutes left. This thing is far from over.
Noah Irvin will come in to replace Djordjevic in the lineup. Kevin Hudson's team trying to work their way to a goal. The only goal they've given up tonight was early on, a penalty kick by Bernardo dos Santos Montero. And it's obvious that Djordjevic is having trouble putting much weight on that right foot.
You know, that this game is even being played with these two teams now in separate conferences is, again, a little bit unusual, and it's due in part to somebody who's not here. That somebody being Ben Stoddard, who was the former associate head coach of the SMU Mustangs, who is close friends with FIU's head coach, Coach Russell. And they scheduled this game, after which Ben Stoddard left coaching to go into a business opportunity as well. I'm going to assume that with his former team playing against the team coached by one of his very good friends, I'm assuming Coach Stoddard is out there somewhere watching tonight. But just know that he was involved in the scheduling, and he is part of the reason we are watching this terrific game tonight at all.
It has been outstanding. Maybe a little bit frustrating at times for both sides. Early for SMU, late for FIU. A lone goal for FIU, Dos Santos Montero. For SMU, it was Owen Zarnik. And no scoring in the second half. But maybe that changes here. Dos Santos Montero onto his left foot, deflected ball. Corner kick upcoming for FIU.
Nice job by Noah Irvin holding his ground. Dos Santos Montero sort of crossed him up a couple of times, and Noah Irvin didn't flinch. Got his right foot out, giving up the corner.
This one will be taken by Diego Castillo, who had started the last 4 matches, but we haven't seen him until this point of the game. He takes a lot of these set pieces when he's on the field. The transfer from Utah Valley to the top of the 6, gets headed out, but then back in. Irvin wins the third ball, and then eventually Salvo is able to drive it the distance.
But just look how differently these goalkeepers see corner kicks. When the opposing team crashes a bunch of offensive players into the goal. Martin Dominguez almost disappears into the crowd and makes you wonder how he can see the ball.
Great ball by Salvo to Mitchell to get this started. Mitchell inside. It's knocked down, driven by the on-rushing Escorcia, and it is off the hands of Van Haveren and out.
Nice fast break by Salvo to Mitchell, then getting the ball into the middle to leave it for Escorcia, and Escorcia one-times it. It seems like there have been several SMU shots that have been at or near the crossbar. And again, with a 6'7" goalkeeper, I would think you'd be trying hard to find lower corners on either the left or the right, rather than going high on a goalie who looks like he can reach the stars above the goal.
Bailey Sparks to take another corner for SMU. Monstrous lead in corners in the second half. Looking for the go-ahead goal. Sparks mishits it. He slipped.
I have never seen that on a dry field.
I don't know that I have either. We did get some rain this morning.
But you're absolutely right. His foot just slides out from under him.
He's going to need to replace that divot. Hope he brought some sand.
That's a big divot.
There it is.
Yeah, he chewed up some turf.
Sparks in on the right side, plays it across in the direction of Lopez, but eyes on it for Nigel Van Haveren. Van Haveren has faced 18 shots, but only 3 of them have been on goal. He stopped 2. Lopez pressing.
He's only stopped a couple of shots, but again, think how many crosses he's intercepted.
Oh, here comes Clinton Pimentel. Onto his left foot, tries to get it across for Jalen Mitchell. Some good defense there to make him change his direction. Bynum stays on it though, and SMU continues to press in toward the goal. Mitchell chips it, it's headed away. Sparks there to back it up. However, Apia tiptoes up, rips it away, and Dos Santos Montero on the move. Sparkling through the middle before Sparks heel kicks it back to Salvo to get it going the other way for SMU.
Mustangs have done a really nice job tonight backtracking and helping with their midfielders through that, helping back on the defensive end.
Oh, Bynum trying to go through everybody. Lopez is going to keep it alive. And Escorcia faces the goal. Down to Lopez, turning, trying to shoot. It's deflected out. Corner number 13 tonight.
13 is just, it's a ton of corners. And it's one of those stats, and we've said this before, it's one of those stats that a lot of coaches look to get a gauge for possession and sort of which way the field is tilted. 13 is just a load.
And before this restart, Daniel Radford wants to talk to the teams.
And by the way, 13 corners, only 1 in the first half.
Sparks right at Nigel Van Haveren. And then he gets it started with a great rollout in the direction of Dos Santos Montero. He's marked by Mitchell. Throws it forward to Apia. Apia starts and stops past Urban. Urban gave him a lot of body and then comes back to get the ball. What do you think of that non-call?
I think I'm okay with it. You're right, there was a lot of contact. He did lean into him, but then he sort of stepped back and slid, and it seemed to slide for a long way, too. You see, there's the contact.
I thought maybe there that maybe should have been a foul in real time.
On second glance, I agree with you.
And here comes SMU. Escorcia out wide to Urban. Under 10 minutes left to play. Urban retreats toward the corner. Finds Escorcia again. Who can come up with a magic moment for SMU? Escorcia toe pokes it in the direction of Sparks, and it's denied. Throw in for the Mustangs quickly. Escorcia wants it right back. Gets it to Urban. The cross is way too strong.
Way too strong and off target and headed toward the sophomore dorms across the road.
Substitutions for FIU. Driss Nasser for the first time in the second half, wearing number 21. And for the first time in this game, Julian Gastalde, the senior midfielder, as Mathis Lefebvre is out, along with Nicholas Villalobos. Some fresh legs coming on for Kyle Russell as his team tries to hold on or maybe come up with a magic goal. You know they're capable. And a big knockdown there. Zarnik and Pope were both in the area. Dos Santos Montero went down due to the contact, looking for a free kick from just outside the 18, and the call is not given.
Yeah, Panthers pretty furious that there wasn't one there.
And with the ball in the air, a foul is called, and SMU will have it on the attacking side of the field with 8 minutes left. Looking for that magic goal. SMU trying to keep a 3-game winning streak alive. They've scored at least 2 in each of the last 3. They've also extended their consecutive games with a goal streak to 29. Sparks had one of the assists on that goal. Sparks is going to get it back in the corner. Serves it across, and in the air, Bynum misses, but SMU backs it up. Jalen Mitchell has it on the left. Mitchell attacking the end line. Mitchell trying to play it inside toward Bynum, and it's knocked out. Last touched by FIU. Mitchell just barely able to tap that one back in off the end line.
Nice restart by Sparks and Escorcia. And then quick one touch from Clanton Pimentel over to Mitchell, who crosses up a defender. And how he keeps that ball in bounds at the end line, I'm not sure, but he almost found Lamar Bynum.
Yeah, and he did. Here's the restart. Back post. Lopez was off balance. And that weak shot is well out of play. And what a win this would be for FIU if they could come up with the basically golden goal here. 6 minutes left. The crosser, Zarnik, is there to play it away and bind him to back it up. But SMU has looked very solid defensively ever since the early stages of this game. SMU is being outshot 6-1, but they have changed something up, and it has worked. Salvo digs out of pressure. Up to Escorcia. SMU may have numbers. Clanton Pimentel, ball's behind him. He has to wait up on it, but Irvin is joining. Clanton Pimentel knows that. Will feed it out to Irvin. Irvin trying to slide in across. Played back out toward Pimentel. And Pimentel able to hold up the defender. And he is fouled to the ground by Diego Castillo.
A little bit unlucky for Castillo, who's simply chasing the ball and ended up climbing up the back of Clanton Pimentel, but not because of anything egregious or malicious here. Clanton Pimentel just also turning for the ball happened to be in the way, and Castillo is the one who ends up paying the price.
A boatload of restarts tonight for SMU. Here's the latest one from Sparks. He slips going in, and again that cleat gives way on him. Throw in this time for SMU.
This field usually holds up very, very well, and you know, Bailey Sparks is a senior. I don't know that I've ever seen him slip on a restart like this, and now we've seen it twice in what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I almost wonder if it's an issue with one of his shoes.
Irvin bounces one off of the defender, and again a corner coming up for SMU. Nigel Van Havern, despite the fact that he has been under attack, continues to keep the positivity up between the pipes.
I wonder if there's a way to find a record for corners and a half.
I bet there is. Here's Bailey Sparks. This is his preferred side on the corner. A good ball to the back post. Headed down. Lopez keeps it in. He's knocked down. And it's going to be another corner, this time for SMU.
Here you see Zarnik knock it in. Maybe it's an okay non-call. I mean, Lopez does get shoved in the back, certainly not shoved very hard. But David Huja does extend that left arm into the small of Lopez's back. And sure, Lopez hits the deck trying to draw a corner or a penalty kick as well.
It's the same spot where Sparks slipped earlier on a corner. You see that divot there. Sparks this time keeps his feet and gets free to Montero all the way up the field, trying to spring Apia 1v2. Just looking for that home run pass. There's been no sustained pressure for FIU in quite a while. Could this be the moment with 3 minutes left? They need it. Here comes Castillo, slots it inside and just out of the control of Apia. He wasn't able to hold it up for a settling touch to get a shot off.
He wasn't, but it was a beautiful pass that hit Apia right on the foot. And if he had been able to slow that ball down, he would have been able to turn and would have been staring at a one-on-one with Martin Dominguez. Great pass. Unfortunate for FIU that Apia wasn't able to rein it in.
Dominguez's shutout string gone in this match thanks to the penalty kick. Other than that, during the run of play, he's been perfect. A look to Escorcia. 2.5 minutes left. Escorcia steps on it, stopping and starting. Nice pass to Urban. Who's this out on? Throw in for SMU. Is Urban looking deep? There's not really anybody in the box. Urban trying to direct traffic that way. Instead, he goes to Escorcia. Escorcia trying to earn the corner, and he does once more. And Escorcia wants the ball, and he places the ball. And he is going to end up giving it to Sparks. 1:45 left to play. SMU walking their way into the box in crunch time. Sparks serve. At the 6, the header is high. Bynum got a piece of it, but not in the direction he wanted.
Beautiful serve by Sparks, and he found the head of Lamar Bynum just a tiny bit too tall for Bynum to get it on frame.
The 20th shot by SMU, but again, only 3 have been on goal. Handball with 1 minute left. Final moments here in Dallas. These two played to a draw last season. 40 seconds separating us from a draw tonight.
The Panthers don't seem to be in a great rush to get this ball into the box for a chance.
Maybe they want to make sure it's the final chance.
They have burned 30 seconds off the clock setting up this free kick.
Here's the punch by Castillo. The header out by Zarnik, but it's settled down with 20 seconds left. A chance for Vilches near the corner to throw in. Instead, he'll dump it off for a throw-in off the sideline with 10 seconds. It's headed away. Back near the sideline with 7. Castillo gives it a ride, but that's not going to get it done. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that does it. The FIU Panthers get the PK goal. SMU responds late in the first half, and we finish in a 1-1 draw. The SMU Mustangs